Do you want to be average? Or do you want to be excellent? See, if you want to be average, there are plenty of people out there that teach NLP. And there are books, videos. Consume any of that, then you'll be average. If you take a training with me, then you'll head towards excellent. And why is that? Well, with 26 years in the field and a Master Trainer of Hypnosis and a Master Trainer of NLP, as well as a trainer in timeline therapy and coaching, I consider myself to be an expert. Developmentally, there's nowhere else for me to go professionally in terms of my own development, though, of course, I'm always evolving, and I'm at day one of my own evolutionary cycle. And how I got here is by learning the basic skills. The basic skills of how to navigate my own map and to make adjustments so that I started to live life more the way that I wanted it to be. So when I help other people, I'm coming from a position of being a highly skilled coach. And when I teach people, I'm coming from a position of being a highly skilled teacher. So you spend 7 days with me and I will teach you the basic requisite skills. How to, your map and compass if you like, how to navigate your own experience and how to change it, how to influence yourself in such a way that you're able to create the future that you actually know that you want to be living and are able to reverse engineer it to take the steps to get there. But it's much more than that, because it's all about communication. It's all about your ability to communicate and to be able to influence and direct another person's experience and to influence them in a direction which is beneficial for them. So if someone comes to me and they're an athlete, for example, then it's how to be able to influence that person to become a better athlete, or a professional skill of any sort, how to develop and become even better and highly skilled at whatever that is that they do, by looking at the process of how they actually go about doing it and making the adjustments so that they do it better. Often involves work with people's beliefs and decisions that they're making, how to make good decisions. Incidentally, no one teaches you in school how to make a good decision. Some people just do it, but even those people also make bad decisions. Everyone makes decisions that they're not completely happy with, and everyone makes decisions that they are. But learning the difference between them enables you to start to head more and more consistently towards the decisions that you know make a difference that's positive for your life and the life of those around you. So that you challenge yourself into that position of growth and you learn to accept and embrace the growth so that you develop your own awareness, your own skills as a person, and that has impact on all areas of your life, your finances and your career, your own personal health, and your relationships with your family, with your friends, with your clients, and everyone else around. In other words, to head towards the life that you were always meant to be living, and to do that quickly, and then to maintain it because you've learned the skills to be able to maintain it afterwards for yourself. So it's practical training, it's very intimate training, and what I do, which is something that nobody else is doing that I'm aware of, is that each person who trains with me, I give them a personal intervention directly tailored for them from me. That's expensive. And yes, it's part of the training because I consider that to be important, not just to give you the requisite skills and enable you to do them, but also to give you a direct intervention so that I teach you how to become aware of what it is that you didn't know about before about yourself so that you can do something about it. And then I'm going to teach you the patterns. So not just the trail of techniques that other people will teach you that you could frankly read about in a book, But what are the patterns behind those patterns that actually make those patterns work? See, when you really know that, then a tool isn't just a tool. It can be used for many things. And once you know why it works and how it actually works and what the parameters are of that operation, then you start to be able to generate new ways to use the very same tool. That's something that you won't learn from a book. In fact, you won't learn it from other people. You'll learn that from me. That's something that I do. Once I show you the system and how it works, then you can start to run with it. So obviously there are certain things which you're going to learn, the features of which are on the website, which is going to be linked beneath this video. And those are the things that everyone kind of learns. The biofeedback techniques from Lacroix, for example, Ericksonian language patterns, so that you learn how to ambiguously guide people without necessarily directing their attention towards that guidance. The things that make things work inside another person, like the ability to create a future. Even if someone doesn't know what that is at the beginning, how to ask the right questions to be able to draw that out from them so that they decide for themselves what it is that they want. They decide for themselves the steps that they need to be able to take, and then you hold them accountable for the actions that they take to get them there. It's been my experience over the last 26 years that those people who follow those basic principles are able to achieve way beyond what they actually thought was possible, as long as they're taking the steps and they're able to do them. So there are certain things which are more geared towards business. There are certain things that are geared towards being more satisfied with the life that you live in. Some things are towards the educational side of life. There are always going to be things to do with sales. Sales is communication at the end of the day. And for those who are in the therapeutic field, for example, then skills by which people can let go of their limiting beliefs and their own negative baggage, and to be able to see clearly the future that is possible for them. More importantly than just that, to be able to take the steps in a very precise and consistent level so that they actually get there quickly. To be able to create something that I call like a propulsion system, so that you have a kind of a cushion behind you that pushes you forwards, as well as something in front of you that draws you onwards towards those skills. There's a consistency of feedback that's very satisfying in of itself, because the results that I'm experiencing are the ones that I've designed to experience along the way. If you came back for a Master Practitioner training, it changes things very, very rapidly. For starters, it's about learning how to profile in multiple different ways, and how to language your way through things that used to be done with techniques at the practitioner level. So quite often, people who are master practitioners of mine, who work with people, one of the common things that's said to them is that they frankly don't know why they've changed so much, because we were just talking. Well, the truth is, we're never just talking. But just because you can't notice something happening doesn't mean that it's not happening. In fact, until you do notice the ways that the outside world is trying to influence you, then you won't know that you're being influenced. And that comes back to something that Carl Jung said. At one point he said that until you make the unconscious conscious, then you'll be directed by it, and you'll call it fate. So once you know what the unconscious is, and you learn how to interact with it, then you can choose whether or not you're influenced. And that's the key word there. It's a choice at the end of the day. So you can learn what the territory of your own mind is. You can learn the map and compass of how to navigate that. You can learn how to create a change in yourself or in another person, or to influence whole groups of people if that's what you do with the work that you do. The secret of it all really is that once you get it and you know what the direction is for you, then you can unpack that for basically the rest of your life. To me, I wake up in the morning, I feel great, and I embrace the day, and I jump out of bed to kind of, find out what's possible. And I do all the things that I can do to keep all my ducks in a row, as it were. But I'm open to opportunities, because I'm no longer closed off from the possibility of those things happening. which means that when an opportunity does arise, I sense that it's an opportunity and I take action. Not all of those actions lead to getting the results. However, more often than not, they do. And I'm learning the difference over time. So I can create lots of opportunities for myself, but I can also create an awareness level in myself critically, which is open to unexpected opportunities which lead me towards living the more satisfying life. And so when those things happen, I know they're happening and I take action. It's that simple. So in a nutshell, if you want to head for excellence, then the first step with me is to take the NLP training. So the NLP part of it is all to do with the languaging, how language works, how communication works, how to be in rapport with people, how to influence them, and how to listen, really listen, so that they tell you everything that they need to know in order to change, rather than me impose my will or what I think is what they need, which is different from what they need. And then the timeline therapy section enables you to let go of limiting beliefs, limiting decisions, negative emotional content, and to create a future that's more in line with a clean projection of how you'd like it to be in the absence of the obstacles which you may have perceived as being there beforehand. And yes, hypnosis, which is one of those words that when I use it, people think of someone on a stage, acting out some sort of ridiculous thing for other people's entertainment. Actually, the process of being in trance is a natural experience that every human being goes through every single day of their life, but they just didn't notice. When you notice that, then you can start to do things with it that are very interesting. For example, the work of Leslie Lecron, getting biofeedback for healing and for making changes in the body, having direct interactions with your unconscious mind and influencing it to do the things that you want it to do by being able to give it clean, clear, consistent signals for the direction that you're heading in, rather than the rather more mixed signals that you will have been given it in the past. And finally, the coaching section, which brings it all together so that you can use it either in business, in education, or in a therapeutic setting. And to do all of those things in 7 days takes a lot of effort. I expect you to do stuff before you arrive, to put yourself in the best possible position, to get the most out of being in a room with me for 10 hours a day for 7 days. When you leave, then I give a lifetime of support to anyone who's trained with me. So that means for some people, if they're setting up a business, for example, and they've never run a business, they'll have all sorts of questions, right from how to get a website up and running and so on and so forth. So for some people, it's kind of a hand-holding in the beginning to help them to move towards what it is that they're attempting to achieve. For some people, they can pretty much run with things, but then occasionally they may come up against something that they want a bit of input on. And that's a time to get in touch with me, and I do my best to do that. But what I want is to support you forwards. You invest in me with your money and your time and energy. Therefore, I invest in you with my time and my energy. And together we grow. I don't want anyone to ever be in a position whereby they don't feel that they're getting support when they need it. So I want to be there and I want to help people. And anyone who's previously trained with me knows that I will go all the way to help them afterwards. After Master Practitioner, you've learned all of the skills that it's necessary to learn. Trainer level is simply about presenting skills. So some people take that training because they want to learn how to train other people in the skills. But some people take that training purely for their own personal development and being able to present themselves publicly in a much more congruent way. So if you're presenting like I do at international conferences, to be able to do that confidently and to be able to create content easily, even on subjects you've never presented before. For some people that's important because the business that they're in ends up with them raising themselves to a certain level whereby they end up with a team of people underneath them that they need to present to, or they need to present to their own immediate bosses, and so on and so forth. So it's not just about training other people in the field. It's about being able to present more generally than that. So I would like you to take an action today. My next training is in March, and my training after that is in June. Each year I do 3 trainings, so generally around March, June and September. And the intake is pretty small. I train people on a very intense level, very personal. And therefore you get what you come for. And I will interact with you beforehand to find out what it is that you expect and want, so that when you're in the training, I can help you to move towards all of those things. And remember, a lifetime of support afterwards. So all in all, those things are the sorts of things that people do not generally offer. On top of that, bear in mind that with 26 years in the field, I know my stuff. So if someone's only just trained in the field and you took a training with them, then yeah, sure, they'll probably be able to charge you less money. But value brands are not the same as premium brands. And I'm a premium brand. So if you want the best, then come and take a training with me. You'll find that the stuff that I put into my trainings, particularly at Master Practitioner level, are right at the cutting edge of my own current development. I don't hold anything back. I give you everything. So if you give me a week of your life, I will give you back the rest of it.